Hello YouTube. This is going to be a very short review of Star Wars The Force Awakens, which I saw this afternoon. Um, to start off, I'd like to say that it is better than the prequels. I'll say that. Is it as good as the original trilogy, any of the movies in the original trilogy? No, it's not. And the reason for that is it's the story is pretty much the same as in the fourth movie, the episode 4 at least, in that there's a message that needs to be delivered from a droid. There's a giant space station that needs to be destroyed. I don't want to say too much, but you will recognize a lot of the elements that are happening. And I think the reason for this is because Disney want to play these new movies safe, especially this one, just so that they can jumpstart the characters. So that because that's one thing, these new characters are actually pretty damn good, especially Daisy Ridley as Rey is a particularly good character in my opinion. BB-8 is cute and Finn is pretty courageous. These new characters are good. They're really good. So I think that Disney is making this movie a lot like one of the old Star Wars movies, so that they could focus more on the characters rather than the story, because it really feels like that. Like the characters are the focus and not the story. And with that said, the middle act I think was the best part of the movie, because the beginning was kind of predictable, and you could see the end coming, although it wasn't all predictable. There were twists and turns, but it was only in the middle act that you actually, at least I was really surprised by the twists and turns, where everyone had their own thing going for them, and things were evolving into something completely new. So you had Rey, Finn, and Poe as the three new main heroes, and my favorite of these three were Rey. I think was really good. As I said, Daisy really played her wonderfully, but John Boyega as Finn was really good also, and Oscar Isaac as Poe. I mean, they were all amazing. Don't get me wrong, but uh, we could have got more from them. But I guess that's saved for sequels. Now, in contrast to these, we had several villains. We had Kylo Ren, everybody knows him by now, I guess. General Hux, played by Domhnall Gleeson. And we also had sort of, this is not really a spoiler because it just comes out of nowhere, but there's this guy, General, no, not General, but he's sort of like the emperor of this new empire. He's called Snoke, played by Andy Serkis, and he was he was the master of Kylo Ren, or whatever, and it was kind of disappointing. It was kind of like Thanos in Guardians of the Galaxy. You know he can do bad stuff, but he doesn't. He just sits around and talks a lot. Kylo Ren, played by Adam Driver, by the way, forgot to say that, and General Hux were pretty damn good villains. I think Donald Gleeson did a fantastic job because he portrayed this almost power desperate guy that just wants to have the galaxy and lets nothing stop him. But I mean, there's even a joke in there where they make fun of the prequels. It's kind of subtle, not particularly aimed at the prequels, but you could take it as that. So the villains are good. There's a twist with Kylo Ren. I don't want to spoil, but you'll probably see it coming. And the film delves deeper into the Force, not particularly much deeper, but in the previous films, it has always been how Jedi's are tempted by the dark side and how they could fall for it by anger and hate. But this time, they do it the other way around, so that the people that the dark side are tempted by the light and try to move away from that. There were a few minor inconveniences, or rather conveniences, in that how could someone with that little training know so much about lightsaber dueling, or how could that robot turn on without explanation? Small things like that, but you can look past them because you do care about the characters. You want to see them succeed. Although I did wish the original cast had much more to do. Now, Han had pretty much to do. I mean, he more or less play the new Ben Kenobi in this movie. I mean, of course, he's still a smuggler that we all know and love, but he's sort of more laid back, and when he has to act, he does so. As for C-3PO, R2-D2, and Leia, they will mostly just stand around. Now it's great seeing them. I love seeing them, but in this movie there's not really much for them to do. As for Luke, well, he hasn't been in a lot of the trailers, and there's a reason for that. So I don't want to give it away, but he's not very much. He's not in the movie particularly much. I can say that. But I think the reason why the old cast didn't have that much to do is simply because this is a new generation of Star Wars. This is what Disney wanted. This introduce a bunch of new characters, so that they can usher in a new wave of fans, while also having a few of the old ones, so that the old fans will be pleased. But I think they are more focused on all these new fans coming to see this. So again, I think they played the story safe, making it very much like an old Star Wars movie, just so they could introduce these characters in a safe place. With that said, there's a lot set up here, so I think the sequel could be a lot better, much better. We could see more of the characters we know and love. We could see more of these new characters becoming, well, better people, much like Luke in Empire Strikes Back. So, is the film what we all hoped? Not really. I mean, I was hoping that it might even surpass one of the films in the original trilogy, which it doesn't. But it certainly is a real Star Wars movie, whereas in the prequels, sometimes you didn't feel that. This time around, it feels real. It feels authentic with all the puppets, the animatronics. Now there is CG in the film, but it's not overused, so it feels real. And the action is as good as it'll ever be in Star Wars. So with that said, there's not too much to complain about. The sequel will much likely be better, and it's just to hold my thumbs that it will be. There's really not much to say about it. If I had to give it a score, I'd say like an 8 out of 10 or something like that. I really had a great time, and I do look forward to seeing the sequels. That's all for now. Take care.